Hello. Sorry, I'm a touch late. Little update for you guys. It isn't raining from what I can see. It's not raining now from what I can see. But hey, everyone, how's it going? Hopefully we're live. Hopefully we're live. We are indeed. There's always a delay. There's always a delay. We're indeed live. Good, good. Hey, everyone. Uh-oh, touch. There we go. Bosh, bosh. You made it. I don't know what the pink padding thing is. I don't know. So, DRS disabled in zone 2. Is that because it is raining? I mean, it doesn't look like it's raining. I've missed any, like, any junior formulas that have been happening here. I know that DRS is enabled, so I think we're okay. You're just electronic ghosts. I know, you're just names on a screen, Mark. Names on a screen, you know? I do just quickly, and I'll be in 1 minute. I need to just go grab my coffee. So bear with me. Bear with me. We've still got 10 minutes until FP3 starts. So, but morning, everyone. Morning, Graham. Morning, Gabriel. Jeremiah, Warren, Kelvin, Mark, Tito, Work, everyone else who is here, and I haven't said your name. Morning, morning. Let me just go grab my my caffeine intake. I'm here. Oh, there we go. There we go. We're back. We're back. Just had to get my caffeine, guys. Just had to get my caffeine. That's all. But how's everyone? Oh, that's nice. That's nice. All caffeinated up. Well, I will be after this. It's my second coffee. One's kind of not enough now. My body's a little bit too used to it. Oh, hang on. I don't know if you guys noticed. Can I do that or not? I can't see it. It is a wet track. Oh, it's now. Don't choke, Scott. It's now raining. Or it has been raining. I'm watching footage where it is absolutely tipping it down, but I think that was from a little bit earlier. So I don't think it's raining at the moment, but it is wet. It is a wet circuit. So, yeah. I think, to be honest, as we checked for the weather yesterday, let's check the weather now. Oh, it's definitely raining. Oh, it's definitely raining. It's definitely raining at some point over the course of the circuit. Wow. That is some image that I am seeing right now. But let's have a look at Spa-Francorchamps weather. Just loading it up. Yeah, no, they've got live images now. So in the time that I went to make a coffee, and come back, it's started raining. So, hey Michael, your astrologer says it'll be a Ferrari 1-2. I think you might need to find a new astrologer, Finton. Oh, so this is the weather report, guys. Let's bring this up for you. So weather, you can see there Saturday 53. Well, now it's 53%, and it's definitely raining. And then later on, 81 to 80% for rain. Oh, it's going to be dry tomorrow, but qualifying is going to be wet, and it's definitely going to shake up the order. Definitely going to shake up the order. Interesting. Can you have free practice behind a safety car? No, they would just not. They'd just red flag the session. So yeah, that's what they do. Hopefully they don't. It is just like rain. It's not like absolutely chucking it down. So hopefully it's suitable to allow them to go out there. Look, the main issue with rain. That shortened itself. The main issue with rain in F1 isn't actually the drivers not being capable enough of driving in the wet conditions. It's just the visibility, pure and simple. These ground effect cars, I mean, these are the largest F1 cars in history, the heaviest F1 cars in history, and it's ground effect era as well. And the majority of the spray comes from underneath the car and out the side of the car, not from the actual tyres itself, from like the rear diffuser. So you're not going to be able to rectify that. So that's why like it's a lack of visibility. So when they're practicing, not all cars, of course, are going to be tucked up behind each other. So it's a little bit easier for them. But yeah, we'll see. But it's definitely looking not so nice over there today. Screen said, yeah, I've sorted that out now. Sorted that out. FP3 may be quality today, yeah. What are my qualifying predictions, Gabriel? Oh, I don't know. I mean, look, if it's going to be wet, like it's being predicted, I don't think you can ever rule out Lewis Hamilton. Like, the rain is the great nullifier. So, yeah, I don't think you can rule out Lewis. Max is obviously still good in the rain, so is Lando. But, yeah, I think I still expect the McLarens to be up there, Max. But then if it's raining, expect someone like Lewis to sneak their way up that grid, further up that grid than they probably would be in dry conditions. Race versus World, learn little for a dry race and save the intermediates for quali. Yeah, they'll have plenty. They'll have plenty of intermediates for this. Yeah, it'd be intriguing to see what the drivers are going to do. Are they just going to do... How do they set out for this practice session? Because it's forecast to be completely dry tomorrow for the race. So... do we see anyone do any sort of long runs in wet conditions? Are you really going to gather relevant data? Is the data going to be relevant to the race on Sunday by doing those long runs? Or is it purely going to be setting the car up for quite? I mean, this is the tricky thing the teams have to manage, right? So we've got a bone dry race tomorrow, as the weather reports, but we've got a very wet qualifying. So what do? Do you set up the car? You have to set up the car, make a decision to set up the car for qualifying or for the race on Sunday. And it's going to make qualifying, I think the majority of drivers are going to set the car up for the race, which means they're going to be very skittish in wet conditions. And that's going to make qualifying even more... That's going to make qualifying even more interesting, because I don't think anyone is going to go for a higher downforce setup purely because of the setup, how this track is and how easy it is to overtake. Like if you go for a high downforce setup, yeah, you'll be higher up in qualifying, but you'll just be a sitting duck come the race on Sunday. So yeah, Morning, Carl. Morning. It is raining. It is raining. Remember last time I went here, it was Max, George, and Oscar who are way faster than everyone else. Yeah, Lando was good. Lando was good here as well. So yeah, there's some drivers who really thrive in the rain, and there's some who don't. But it's going to be an intriguing one because the race is it's going to be dry tomorrow, so they're going to have to be careful. Any win predictions? I still said Lando. I still want Lando because I want there to be a championship fight. And if he wins, means even if Max comes second, he's still like eating a little bit into that lead that Max has got. So, sitting ducks, time for Haas to shine. Hello from the gym, James. Oh, you're good, man. You're good. I woke up an hour ago. I had grandeur ideas of going to the gym. But, yeah, I didn't. So, maybe I'll go in between sessions. But here we go. FP3 is green light underway. And the first driver out there is the driver who's taking a 10th-place grid penalty. And that is Max Verstappen, wasting no time whatsoever wanting to get out there on circuit. Only driver thus far. Scott, thank you for becoming part of the pit crew, buddy. Thank you for joining. Chief Strategists. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, if you want to help support the channel, guys, you can also not only subscribe and get that number at the top right hand of your screen closer to 29k, but you can also join as a member for less than the price of a coffee. So it just helps support this stream, support myself for bringing these watch-alongs to you, and hopefully bringing us a step closer each time to making this a full-time career and bring every single session to you guys in the future. But interesting, we've got the two Stake F1 drivers out there on wets. That's intriguing. I didn't think it was that wet out there. Maybe they just want to be better safe than sorry. So, what do I think Perez and Verstappen's future would be in terms of which team they will go to, or if they won't get a seat? Max will definitely get a seat from another team if he wants to leave Red Bull. Yeah, so I think there's only one team that Max is going to end up at if it's not a Red Bull, and that's Mercedes. I think that's just if you look at the driver lineups of the other big teams. So Ferrari is shored up with Leclerc and Hamilton. Then you've got McLaren shored up with Lando and Piastri. Mercedes is the only other top team that isn't shored up. So, yeah, you would say that that's the only team he would go to currently on the grid. Perez, I do think Perez still has a place on the grid. I think it's been proven he's just not a top driver in a top team. He will get more out of a car that's underperforming. Go back to his midfield days where he had great drives in the like the Force India and that, where he was a tyre whisperer. I think he's got too much money and support behind him. So unless he decides himself to retire, I think even if he loses his Red Bull seat, I think he'll end up at like a midfield team who will take him on for the cash. And he still has something probably to give in F1. I think he's only 33, 34, so... Perez needs to sign for Audi, Sainz needs to sign for Williams, and Magnussen needs to sign for Alpine. And Alpine need to move back to result. Well, Alpine are an absolute shit show at the moment. They've made more personnel changes than I've had hot dinners, honestly. Every single day there's someone leaving the team or someone new joining the team. I just don't know what's going on there. They're moving to Mercedes engines and Mercedes gearboxes and parts, and like the Renault want out. Everything is just pointing to Renault wanting out of F1, and Alpine will not be Alpine very soon, I reckon. I think they're going to get bought out, genuinely. Perez can swap with Rick. That's the rumour. However, I just think Red Bull are not going to demote Perez. I think they're going to just cancel his contract altogether. So, yeah, we'll see. I should have waited and signed Perez. Maybe. Look, I don't think Ocon's a touch younger as well. Ocon's coming in. You got to think of mentality as well. Like a driver coming down from Red Bull after being released from a top team, they're going to be more on a downer than Ocon, who's more G'd up. He's going to be more G'd up, wanting to make an impression with Haas, rather than the other way around with Perez. Would just be like, oh. So, is the track wet? Oh, yes, it's wet. I'm looking at the TV coverage now. It's definitely intermediates. It's not wet tyres, as you can see from Bottas and Zhou, who dipped into the pits. But it's not tipping it down, guys, I wouldn't say. It's like just a constant drizzle. But there are definitely some areas that the drivers need to be careful of. Stay away from the curbs whatsoever. So I'm just watching an onboard of Max Verstappen right now. He's the only driver to set a lap thus far. And yeah, he's just completely avoiding the curbs and the white line, which has no grip when it rains. Let's see his line through Blanchimont. It's flat out, though, through Blanchimont. No lift through there whatsoever. Even in these conditions. So there is grip out there, and these drivers will dry up the circuit. I mean, I don't think it's raining enough to keep the track wet. I don't think there'd be a dry line forming anytime soon. Norris blob Stuffeyy. Why can't Yuki go to Red Bull? Hang on. Oh no, Daniel Ricciardo reporting, I feel like I'm losing hydraulics. The steering is heavy. Something feels weird. Daniel Ricciardo had ended his FP2 session prematurely yesterday due to mechanical issues. So it looks like that's rearing its ugly head at the start of this FP3 session. Of course, Daniel Ricciardo, highly touted to be replacing Perez in the summer break. So can we all agree that K-Mag at Renault was fire and that 2018 was the best season in ages? What, for Magnussen or just in general? More personnel changes in points. That's a given, James, yeah. The question becomes, Scott, will Max Verstappen get points tomorrow or DNF and allow Lando to close to within 43 points? Oops, 50. He's not. I don't think he'll DNF. Look, I said this yesterday on stream. Max will not DNF on his own. Max just doesn't make mistakes on his own. The last mistake he made on his own was Hungary 2 years ago, where he had that spin in like the second to last corner. Like, he's super consistent when it comes to yeah, not like driver errors, basically, on his own. The way Max Verstappen will DNF is if he goes wheel to wheel with someone. There has to be another party involved. If it's just him, he's not going to do that because he's just too consistent. But yeah, if there's another driver, that's where Max will potentially have a DNF or have issues, or get, on his own, he's not going to have those. So can't see Norris on track. Oh yeah, why is he not on track? That's not me. That's nothing that I can control. That is F1 data. So there's a yellow flag briefly thrown there. It looks like they've lost. So we're getting the timing screens of Norris, but we're not getting the data. We're not getting the track map data from Norris. So that's something to do with the car, most likely, on F1's end. That's nothing to do with us. I can't do that, unfortunately. I can't resolve that. So yeah, that's intriguing. Not sure why that's the case. I swear he showed up initially and then he's disappeared, isn't he? Maybe it's due to the wet conditions. Something's mixing around. Now it's looking wet. Heavier rain to last 10 minutes, and now it's coming down quite heavy, and the spray is severe. I'd be surprised if these conditions we were allowed to race. This is the sort of conditions where I would expect them probably to say a red flag. Unfortunately. But because it's practice session, there's not... The cars are spread out quite nicely. Will it rain during quali? Supposedly. Yeah, I don't know why this yellow flag keeps getting thrown in that... Oh, it's double yellow now. But then it gets removed. There's something going on with the data being supplied to F1 at the moment. It's a bit on the fritz. Going on the fritz with this rain. If Danny Rick moves to Red Bull, will VCarb go for Perez or Lawson? I think they'll promote Lawson. This is why I think Perez... So Tsunoda's confirmed for an extra year. Someone did mention it should be Tsunoda. I agree. However, Tsunoda's not going to get promoted because they don't want some young hotshot going in there, taking it to Max Verstappen. There's also the commercial value as well, the money side of it. Daniel Ricciardo's much more commercially viable than Yuki, so he gets on very well with Max. So I think that relationship, that whole dynamic, just suits Daniel Ricciardo to jump into rather than Yuki. But I think Yuki deserves an opportunity. But yeah, I think Liam Lawson, this is why I think Perez is going to be just completely out of the Red Bull system, is because they're going to promote Lawson, and Yuki will maybe leave after his extra year, and then the rumour is Isaac Hadjar is going to be the next one to step up into that VCarb team after Lawson. So, how much time is quality? Quality doesn't start till this afternoon, Ranveer. 3 o'clock UK time, so you're talking about another 3 hours, basically. Another 3 hours. Norris is still tracking sector times. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. He's been lost on the track map, but his sector times are still being tracked. Daniel Ricciardo still reporting something feels weird. Oh no. Perez gets told he's leaving unless he beats Max before quali. Him and quali. I just don't think there's anything that Perez can do this weekend for him to... I even think if he won the race, I don't think they'd still even keep him on. There's just too much data now. There's too many past results for them to ignore. It's too late. It's too late, in my opinion. So I know they say you're only as good as your last race in F1. That's a lie, to be honest with you. So everyone, Perez has just done nothing. He started the year off well when he had such an advantage, but then he's just dropped and dropped and dropped. And it's just not acceptable, is it? Max gets 0 points and Perez wins, he needs to stay. I disagree. I think he's... if it was me as a team principal, I think that decision's already made. I said yesterday, and I tweeted it, look, Daniel Ricciardo's doing... Lance Stroll had an off through Eau Rouge, through Raidillon. Lance Stroll's had a bit of a spin, it looks like. He's going again. And it's a red flag. It's a bit of a premature red flag, maybe. But Lance Stroll is off and has spun the car and lost control through Eau Rouge at the top of Eau Rouge, which is Raidillon, turn 4. And that is correct. Lance Stroll has just lost it through Eau Rouge, Raidillon, and medical car has been deployed, and we have a very swift red flag. Has he done what Lando Norris did those years ago in 2021, bringing out the red flag? Let's have a look. As Daniel Ricciardo, just watching a replay, Daniel Ricciardo going off. Yuki Tsunoda going off through Les Combes there, through turn 7. But let's have a look. They're on board with Alonso. TV coverage a little bit behind. Yellow flag's been thrown. Lance Stroll, how much has he damaged his car? Let's see. And Lance Stroll has broken his front left suspension and the front wing. He has taken a fair old whack. Just watching the coverage now, he has damaged that car. It can no longer move under its... Well, it can move under its own steam, but the front left is battered. That is for sure. Broken front left suspension, broken front wing, and Lance Stroll has brought out the red flag after an incident at the top of Eau Rouge, Raidillon, turn 4. And just waiting to watch a replay to see exactly what has occurred there. But I'm just going to suspect a bit of aquaplaning maybe. And, yep. Spun the car. No doubt. Let's just... Come on. TV coverage. They're very, very... I mean, the driver's okay. There we go. Watching the replay now. Through Eau Rouge he goes. Oh, he had a snap. Aquaplaning. The car went into a 360, and with the new runoff, of course, that was implemented into Eau Rouge, that was definitely made use of, and he kind of did a 360, and as it came back round facing the right way, the front left smashed the wall, And yeah, that's why he's out. But yeah, a bit of aquaplaning there from Lance Stroll as he went up through Eau Rouge. He had a snap, he caught it, but then as he went onto the painted surface on the runoff, the car just went into a spin, and there was nothing that he could do. So he nearly controlled it. Nearly controlled it. I mean, it can happen. I'm not going to be too critical on Lance Stroll there because that can happen to anyone through Eau Rouge in these conditions. So at least Stroll didn't hit anyone else for once. You can hear rocket-powered Mohawk from a mile away. He's hitting record right now. What happens when the track is red? So it means you nullify the race circuit. So a red flag means stop. The session stops. Although in practice sessions, what happens is that the timer still ticks down, whereas in qualifying and the race, the time stops. But in practice, the times that no one else can go out and do lap time, and yeah, it means that they have to wait for that car to be removed and the barrier to be repaired. I think the barrier might not have to be repaired. We'll see, but yeah, that's basically what it does. That's what a red flag does. So. Hey, Nilo. Imagine if the safety car drives up to Stroll and RPM hangs out with a megaphone yelling stuff. But at the moment, Max Verstappen, a few lap times being set there. Max, Piastri, Norris. Still not got Norris's dots back up there, have we? Which is a bit of a shame. But lap times being, and sector times being recorded though by Norris, even though we couldn't see his icon, so we'll see with that. But yeah, they're still trying to get rid of that car, just getting it onto a flatbed now. So flatbed truck. Is Max going to hit anyone this weekend? Depends if he. Well, he has to make his way through the field. So when there's wheel to wheel racing, there's always an opportunity that Max might hit someone. I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying, but it's true. Hey, Raven. Yeah, Stroll crashed. He just aquaplaned through Eau Rouge and, yeah, got into a spin. Oscar looks ominous this weekend. Yeah, I think the McLarens are still going to be up there. They're definitely still going to be up there, that's for sure. I mean, look, they've got such an advantage this weekend when you think about it because their next competitor is Verstappen. He's going to be, at best, starting 11th tomorrow. So, yeah, they need to try and lock out that front row so that Max starts a couple of extra positions further down the grid. So, yeah, there's a good opportunity for McLaren to not waltz away with this, but to control this race again tomorrow like they did in Hungary. Hopefully, they don't make as many team errors like they did last week. But, yeah. It was Stroll. It was Stroll, Mark. Perez was only 5.5 seconds behind Max. Guess he was told not to spend more money by crashing. Yeah, don't ruin Daniel Ricciardo's future car. We need a car for Daniel Ricciardo to actually get into come Zandvoort in 3 weeks' time. Or 4 weeks' time. What happened? Lance Stroll is what happened. Enough said. No, in fairness, as I just mentioned previously, I'm not going to blame Lance Stroll too much for that. It just did look like aquaplaning. The car had a bit of a snap. He was on the right line going through Eau Rouge, and the car wiggled. He saved it, but then as the car got onto there's a massive, big old painted surface on the runoff of Eau Rouge that's like painted with like the Rolex logo. And as soon as he got onto that, car just went round on him. So Max is not happy in this car now, and Max mistake under pressure. I agree, John. Yeah, I mean, under pressure, it's very different. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what obviously the race has in store for us tomorrow. I'm intrigued. It's going to be. I'm still really intrigued for qualifying this afternoon. We're going to have a real interesting qualifying session. As I mentioned at the start of this stream, look, it's not going to be wet for tomorrow. The teams need to make a conscious effort. Okay, do we set the car up for wet conditions? And I think that would be a mistake. Because, I mean, yeah, there's a balance. There's a fine balance because you don't want to be completely out of position by setting the car up for a dry race on Sunday. But it is a circuit. Hey, track clear. It is a circuit where overtaking is a lot easier. So we're not at the likes of the Hungaroring where you can sacrifice a bit more downforce or have a bit more downforce and know that the cars behind are going to struggle to get past you. Here, not so much. So session will resume at 12:50. So that is less than a minute, guys, like 30 seconds or so. So yeah, they really need to take. They really need to take a view upon things and go, okay, do we set up for the dry race or do we try and balance it out with getting a better qualifying and getting some track position? I don't know. I would be more inclined to go for the race setup because, in the day, that's where the business is conducted. But that's going to provide, I think, some shockers in qualifying, and it could provide some crashes as well with drivers not having enough downforce for the wet conditions. It's going to be a real intriguing session this afternoon. I see. Well, I think FIA is going to wait until the rain is more lighter. Most likely. Well, I think it's okay now. I don't think we would race in these conditions because the spray is just too much. But qualies this afternoon in about 3 hours' time. Red flag conditions equals Holsteins and Guernseys on F1 TV. Yeah, McLaren aren't used to flying at the front. We're trying to cover 2 cars last time rather than using the advantage of having 2 cars at the top to pressure max. Yeah, I mean, look, you only learn from your mistakes, and you just got to hope that McLaren have learned from that mistake. It was a poor strategy decision to put them in that position anyway, or to put Oscar in that position and Lando. And I think Lando has said this week, like, look, he shouldn't have even been in. He shouldn't have even led that race. He's taken the shine away from Oscar's win. We don't know if he would have caught him in the last stint anyway, if Oscar pitted first. But yeah, he shouldn't have been in that position anyway. But hopefully, if he starts on pole, he needs to improve his starts. Apparently, there was an issue with the shift. Apparently, mechanical issues, what they've come out with, and said that Lando's upshifts have been compromised, as it's green light again now. But I don't know. Lando's always not been the best at starts. It's always been an area that he had to improve on, and now he's at the front, obviously where it's most the higher pressure environment. He's kind of falling under that pressure at the moment. So Bottas gets 0 points. That's embarrassing. Race winner gets 0. Been a long time since Bottas was a race winner or in a Mercedes. So McLaren got to stop being the underdog. I agree. Yeah, they've got to take that. They're not an underdog anymore. They're a team that are. They're a team that need to be thinking about that they're in the quickest car. McLaren will have a mute button for Lando's radio. Or more so, Lando will have a mute button for the team. No more begging over the radio, please. Red flag is due to Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll lost control through Eau Rouge and he hit the barrier, broke the front left suspension of his car. So it wasn't the biggest hit in the world, but it's green light now. It is a wet circuit out there. You can see everyone barring Magnussen and Sainz have set, or at least got out there. They've at least got out there. So Gasly looks like he was the driver to set the most laps, 5 to be exact, but yeah, drivers just kind of sitting in their cars at the moment. We've still got 37 minutes remaining. We might see drivers just chilling in their car like Oscar Piastri is for now until maybe the session progresses a bit more and they go out there and potentially do some quali runs. But they also don't want to bin it also as well. They don't want to take it too hard because they need a working car for this afternoon. What's my take on Ocon displacing Magnussen? We said it yesterday. I've never really been enamoured by Ocon. I don't really have any strong feelings about Ocon going to Haas. I'm not like, oh, what a great signing. And I'm also not like, oh, really? They've really signed Ocon? It's like, okay. Like, I wouldn't be upset if Ocon ended his F1 career, you know? That's nothing particularly against him, but I just don't feel like he's a driver that's ever wowed me, but he's never really been a driver that's kind of massively disappointed me either. Like, of course, he's had incidents with he gets feisty with his teammates and stuff, but yeah, that's about it, really. Why is it showing Alonso is on soft tyres, by the way? The data is drunk right now. It's not showing Lando Norris on the track, and it's showing Alonso is on soft tyres. But yeah, for Magnussen, though, I think his time has come. It's kind of like the end of his F1 career. Very fortunate to get a second chance, and he did well. But yeah, I think his performances, he's getting outshone by Hulkenberg. He's had a couple of good performances, but of course, we know that he's got himself into some sticky situations that he could have avoided, some poor decision making. But yeah, he'll go to sports cars, and fair play for him coming back and taking that opportunity. But yeah, it's nice to see a youngster like Ollie Behrman being given a chance, and Ocon. It's the right decision for Haas to have a more experienced driver alongside a promising rookie, rather than it being a full outpay driver. No doubt Ollie Behrman brings money, but I don't think he's an all outpay driver like Mazepin was. And I know Schumacher won F2, but Schumacher was there because of the commercial value that he brought, because of his name and the sponsors. So that's definitely why he was in Haas. But yeah, I think it's a nice balance for them, and I think Haas are heading in the right direction. And I was totally wrong about them at the start of the season. I thought they were going to seriously struggle, but they've definitely been doing well this year. So I can't deny that. Will was reporting Alpine is set up for the rain, lots of downforce. Well, they haven't made it out of. They've been struggling, haven't they, Alpine? Really struggling. So, but they need a good qualifying performance. Simple as. And then when it comes to the race on Sunday, they're obviously just going to deal with it. But I'd expect them to fall back. They need some morale, don't they? They need a boost of morale. So a decent qualifying performance will help that. And then they might be able to defend against the likes of the teams behind who they're normally fighting in the midfield. But we'll see. Don't think Adrian Newey is working on Max's car? No, Adrian Newey's gone. Yeah, he's been working. He hasn't really been working on the F1 team properly. He's there, but he hasn't been working in that F1 team on the F1 car probably for the last 2 seasons properly. He's been more so on the Aston Martin Hypercar series and that RB car that they just released and showed for the first time in Goodwood Festival of Speed. So we had a red flag, Sarah. If you're just tuning in, we had a red flag for about 10 minutes because Lance Stroll lost it at the top of Eau Rouge Raidillon, turn 4. So you can see his little icon there, but small. And kind of not highlighted as well because he's had to be removed by damaging the front left suspension of that car. And then it's raining at Spa at the moment, so a lot of drivers are just waiting for these conditions, maybe to let up a little bit or just wait to do some quali runs. Because I did predict at the start, I was interested in, well, I didn't predict, but I was asking the question at the start of this session, how would the teams going to approach this? Because we are forecast a completely dry race tomorrow. There's not even a sign of rain tomorrow. So that means that this session for long runs is kind of irrelevant. Like, it's not worth the risk of going out there on a set of intermediate tyres and gathering kind of data that's not relevant to the race on Sunday. You've got all that from yesterday, and I think what we'll see is we'll see drivers go out there maybe in the last half hour, hopefully in the last half hour when we get some cars on circuit, but at least like probably in the last 15 minutes, go out there, do some sighting laps and get a feel for driving in the rain for qualifying this afternoon. That's really the only benefit to this session, is to getting some confidence, finding the grip for the qualifying session later this afternoon. But yeah, it is raining hard out there. It's not a red flag. But that's basically, I think, what we're going to see from teams at some point towards the end of this session. Racing for Antoine, yeah. When was that? Was that 2019? How time flies, man. So, Haas are definitely most improved team this year. Yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised by them. It's a shame, really, that they've lost Nico Hülkenberg. I think Nico Hülkenberg and Ollie Behrman would have been a great partnership for next year. So, and the quali, they will quali in dry trim and drive on light eggshells. Exactly, Mark. Quali is going to be so intriguing this afternoon. I think we're going to see some big gaps, like between pole position and like it's not going to be as tight of a qualifying as what it is. Oh wow, it is raining quite hard. It's not going to be a qualifying session where it's as close as it has been in the previous few races. I don't think so, because people are going to be having different setups. Spa's a very unique circuit where some teams set up with less downforce so that they are able to maximize the top speed that you need here. And then they're slower in that middle sector where there's more corners. And others set up a little bit more downforce so that they can make up the time in the corners. So it's really going to be intriguing to see. I think the guys, obviously, who have set up for more downforce are going to do better than those who have set up for a bit more lower downforce. But it's a real intriguing one this afternoon. Real intriguing. You just want to point out how this track looks like a bird flying. Does it? I don't think I can see that. Is this the beak? A bird flying? Was that the body and that's the wings? Rain at Spa? No way! I know that. It wouldn't be a Belgian Grand Prix weekend without some rain, eh? Do I think Hamilton is still happy with his move to Ferrari? I do, John. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely do. Alpine setting the car with high downforce to be the most overtaken car ever on track tomorrow. Exactly. Alpine on pole position, and then they end up finishing 19th and 20th. Alpine front row. Imagine it's an Alpine front row. I actually want to see that for the shits and gigs. Alpine setting the car up purely for the wet weather conditions. They qualify on the front row, or at least in the top three, and then just see them drop on Sunday. Beak at the top right. Maybe. I still can't see it, guys. I can't see it. If quality is rain, I hope they don't red flag it. No, I don't think they'll red flag it. I think the thing is, like they're not red flagging the practice session now, is because the drivers aren't all out. They're not all going to be out there close together, bunched up together. When it comes to the race, of course, that's a different scenario because the cars are close together, the lack of visibility. That's the reason why they red flag sessions now, is because of the lack of visibility, not due to the actual conditions themselves and drivers not being able to drive in them. So, Stuffeyy, can Mercedes pole today? Yeah, look, I think it's anyone's game. In these conditions, anyone can, well, obviously, not anyone, but, you know, the usual suspects, Mercedes, Ferrari, the ones who in dry conditions are a little bit off the pace, I think, yeah, they can get on pole. Rain is the great nullifier. So, yeah, this is what Lewis Hamilton would be hoping for. It's his only opportunity to kind of get up there, I think, at the moment at this circuit. Mercedes have improved, but they've not improved enough to be able to take it to a Red Bull with a brand new engine in it and to the two McLarens. So, beak at La Source. Yeah, that's, if anything, that's where I would see like potentially a beak. Like, no, I think it's a bit of a stretch, guys. I think it's a bit of a stretch. Who do I think will replace Hamilton? So yeah, we mentioned this yesterday. Joe Saywood. I don't know if you know Joe Saywood. He is a very reputable and long-term journalist in F1. Has been roaming the paddock for years. He appears every now and then as a guest on the Missed Apex podcast. Link to that podcast and the channel is down below. And yeah, he has said and stated that it is all but confirmed that Kimi Antonelli is in that second Mercedes seat. Mercedes are just waiting for the right time to announce it, which I suspect will be in the middle of the summer break. that's when we hear a lot of driver announcements made. So George Russell will be the teammate of Kimi Antonelli next year. Now, what the seats are going to be for 2026 onwards, I don't know. I think George Russell's contract runs out then as well. And we know that they're courting Max Verstappen. I genuinely think, and I called this a while ago, I genuinely think Max Verstappen and Kimi Antonelli will be in the Mercedes team in 2026. I think the pressure is now all on George Russell. So, probably Max Ball Racing. I only think it's... Only reason I say Merc Pole, I still think it's a long shot. But yeah, in wet conditions, anything's possible. So... And Sainz, oh, that's the question, isn't it? I don't know where Sainz is going to go. I think Alpine now. I think it's Alpine. Unless he then decides, unless he's still going to decide with Audi. But I think they're both poor choices. But Alpine, is it Alpine could potentially become Toyota? Oh, they've red flagged the session. Wow. They've red flagged it. Too wet out there at the moment. Too wet. Damn. Wow. Joe's always careful to only state that which is verified and his sources allow him to publish info. Exactly, Scott. Yeah. Yeah, Joe's very reliable in that sense. Like, he's spent years and years building relationships with teams and personnel within teams, influential members as well. So, yeah, if he's released that info and he feels comfortable to publish that, he'll sometimes allude to things, won't he? He on Twitter and stuff. He'll sometimes allude to it, or he'll dismiss things that people are proposing to him, like kind of a good journalist does. But then he'll only publish something once he feels confident in the information that he's been provided. So yeah, the fact he's basically been able to put that down, pen to paper, I trust it. So, how about Mick Schumacher in a Merc? No, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Lots of standing water. Yeah, that looks like the rain has intensified, guys. So, I'm not sure if they're going to even get this session going again. I mean, looking at the track, it's wet tyres. You wouldn't be out there on intermediates. I think it'll be a Hamilton weekend as he is good in the wet. Well, qualifying maybe, but the session, the race tomorrow is going to be dry. So, can they red flag the quali? Yeah, there is a scenario for it, isn't there? I think it goes on standings in the championship or something. There is a rule somewhere where it would go on standings in the championship. So the safety car's out there now to get some laps in round the circuit just to see how it is. Or the medical car, sorry. And the safety car is also out there. Toto would want to prove Kimi is better. Yeah, I mean, look, we mentioned it yesterday as well. It's a good prep year for him, isn't it? In an essence, he'd get a year in F1 before the new regs come in. It's a year of him kind of... Yes, there'll be pressure, but there's also probably no pressure from Mercedes. They're like, this is purely just a learning year. Yes, we want your results to go well, but we want you to learn how to manage the tyres, get used to those tyres, get used to the whole F1 scene. It's very different to kind of F2, and then he's prepped for 2026 when the new regs come in. I still think they're going to be delayed a year. I think they'll be 2027, but yeah, I think that's their idea. Antonelli's supposed to be a new Max Verstappen. I'm not sure having them both on the same team would work. One would have to take a back seat to the other. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. The pressure's definitely going to be on George, though. For 25, I personally want to see Verstappen at Mercedes, Sainz and Ricciardo at Red Bull, and Yuki and Lawson at Red Bull. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Sainz does end up back at Red Bull. I can see it happening, depending on where he goes. So I think he's trying to negotiate whichever team he goes to. He's got some get-out clauses. just in case if Max leaves, and then he can jump straight back up into a top team again. At the start of the practice, commentator said how exciting. Now he's saying how depressing. What, me? I'm so excited. Standings from the last completed practice session if quali abandoned. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. So it'd be as it was now. So it means Gasly and Ocon start 3rd and 5th? No. George Russell would be 18th. Sainz would be 20th. Hamilton 9th. Bottas 8th. Really? Is that what the reg is? If it rains during the race, it will be a huge advantage for Red Bull. Yeah, it's not going to rain during the race. We looked at the weather forecast. It's literally like 0% for rain on Sunday. They could put Kimi in a Williams like they did with George. So I think that was their initial proposal, Ray. But James Vowles has said, I don't want to take on someone who's going to be at the team for just like a year. I don't want to take a loanee. I want to have an actual driver partnership. I want a driver pairing that we can build around. Alex Albon and who the second driver is, I don't know. A long time ago, Eddie Jordan said on TV that Hamilton will end his F1 career at Ferrari. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Hamilton's regretting moving to Ferrari whatsoever. What a story for him. He's going to race, I've said it before, he's going to have raced at 3 of the most historic teams in F1. McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari. And if he's able to win races with Ferrari, which I suspect he will do, let's not obviously talk about the championship, because that's obviously over the whole course of a year. But I think he'll win races, and he would have won races at those 3 teams. What a thing to have on your record, eh? What a record. Max starting just after Perez, grid penalty. Yes, yeah, P11 he'd be, wouldn't he? But no, hopefully not. Hopefully quali. They'd want to get quali underway. They would want to. So, I mean, it's practice, so they can kind of be a little bit more loose with it, I guess, in red flagging it. We'll see if that maybe we get another couple of 10 minutes. They've got the safety car and the medical car out there now doing some sighting laps, so hopefully they're able to report back and go, yeah, drivers can go out there, hopefully. Hey Vince, welcome back, buddy. Eric, Supermax. They would run quality with full wets, yes. Yeah. Just watching Lance Stroll's car being dragged back in. The whole front left side is battered. Absolutely battered. One of the guys wheeling it back in is holding the front left wheel up. So, when it continues, hopefully in 10 minutes time, hopefully. Yeah, we'll see. But, I mean, it's 95% humidity at the moment. Let's have a look at the weather report. Let's see what they're saying, eh? Oh, what's going on here? Why? Oh, Keir Starmer's there. Britain's new Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, is in the stands. That's never news an F1 fan. So much. Doing my weather report for you guys. Doing my weather report. Spa Francorchamps. Spa, Belgium. Here we go. Ooh. Here we go. It's the weather report. So that's now this afternoon, 3 o'clock. High chance of precipitation. So light rain and light winds though. Whereas now it's thundery showers. We'll see, we'll see. Do you reckon Perez will be out of F1 itself after he's sacked by Red Bull? No, I don't think so. I think he's going to be... Another team will take up the money that he brings. Like, he brings so much money. He's still in the top 3 supported drivers on the grid. I'd say he's probably second only to Lewis, really. I think arguably you'd say Lewis is the most supported driver across the world. And then Checo is so well supported. Surprisingly so in Asia, actually. Currently listening to me indoors painting while FP3 is like watching paint dry. Well, yeah, if you're just joining us, guys, it's red flag because of the weather conditions out there at the moment. So we initially had our first red flag due to Lance Stroll crashing at the top of Eau Rouge. Radion is the official name of the corner. So, yeah, his car had to be retrieved. They threw the red flag from that, correctly so. And then since then, the rain has intensified. We did get the track go green, but then they threw the red flag about 5 minutes ago, I think it was. And yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to get any running between now and the end of FP3, but it's going to make qualifying even more interesting and an unknown this afternoon, because we've already spoken about the balance of setup, because it's going to be a dry race tomorrow. But they've also only had a couple of laps to get their eye in these conditions on these setups that they're going to be running. So, yeah, really going to be intriguing qualifying this afternoon. Hopefully it goes ahead. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Super stream. Thank you, Eric. Perez has enough money to get another seat somewhere else. Exactly, Bobby. Yeah, exactly. I agree. He's a team like Williams would snap him up, I think. They'd snap him up. Hey, Bibo! Horner, GP, Verstappen and Marco all having a laugh and conversation. Lots of smiles there. Yeah. I'm surprised Daniel Ricciardo hasn't trotted over to the Red Bull garage and got in on that conversation as well. There's been so many videos of him and Max recently, like doing the PR videos. And I'm just like, why is he doing that with Max and not Sergio Perez? That's something you do with your teammate, not something you do with your sister team. And I think it's just everything just points to the fact that Ricciardo is just, that seat is his after the summer break. Yeah, watching the kart track now and there's drivers spinning, isn't there? They're showing a replay of it as well. Oh no. Oh no, they're showing a replay of someone who spun on the kart track. Oh dear. That's going to be sent in the group chat afterwards, isn't it? Drivers are going to be anxious with all this waiting. This is going to be a great quality. I agree. I think we're going to see a real mixed up grid. That's what I'm hoping for. Why is Norris's DS tag got a red cross in it? I don't know. Norris wasn't showing up on the track map, funnily enough. There's something wrong with the data being delivered from Norris's car. We were getting sector times and lap times, but we wasn't getting his dots out on, or his marker out on track. So yeah, something wrong with the data being delivered from that car. God knows why. Oh God, what did Lance do? He crashed. The car will be repaired, I think. But yeah, in fairness, it wasn't. It was a bit of aquaplaning. He had a snap of oversteer in the middle of Eau Rouge, a very scary place for that to happen. Arguably, yeah, you could say he could have scrubbed off a bit more speed. But yeah, it's not really too much of his fault. He did save control of the car. And then as soon as you go onto the runoff, it's all painted surface, and the car just goes. There's no grip. The car just spins round. So, Cashew now climbing out of his car. Yeah, I mean, we've got 12.5 minutes left. I don't suspect this session is going to get underway, guys, unfortunately. My country isn't airing FP3 due to the Olympics, so thanks to the stream. Pleasure, Wendigo. My pleasure to provide you this great coverage we've got here. I'll be back, of course, for qualifying this afternoon and the race tomorrow. So, but yeah, the Olympics. So what's everyone's thoughts? Let's have a bit of a tangent here, guys. I want to get Did anyone see the opening ceremony at the Olympics last night? Did anyone see it? It was different. It was different. But what's your thoughts on it? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it was a bit meh? Have you seen any of it? If you didn't watch it live, did you see any of it? Like this morning when you woke up? What were your thoughts on it? I'm just intrigued to gain perspective from others. Because I have mine. Hulk in the Red Bull seat? No, never. 3 out of 10, Ethan. 3 out of 10. Very weird. Been watching the sumo. Is this sumo wrestling an Olympic sport? Is it? There's so many sports in the Olympics now. Have you just heard that esports? Have you just heard that esports has been signed off to be included within the Olympics? So we're going to get not like an esports Olympics, but esports with its subsectors is going to be included within the Olympics moving forward. Isn't it? I'm pretty sure they signed that off. The Olympic Esports Games are now officially approved by the IOC. And they will begin in 2025. Oh, no, so they're having their own Olympics, sorry. So not included as part of the Olympics, but like you've got the Winter Olympics, you're going to have the Olympic Esports Games. Not a single member voted against it. And guess which country, guys, will host the first esports event? Guess which country? Breakdancing Olympics now. Oh, I know. Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. 10 points to Bravo. Yep, Saudi Arabia. Shocker. The country that's throwing shed load of cash to everything. To everything, aren't they? So, they're throwing shed loads of cash at every sport. So, I saw it. I don't know the dancer's name, but they did a really good job with the pink feathers and the ships passing. Looked cool. I just think, look, it was different. I just don't think it hit the spot. What's wrong with doing it in a stadium? There's so much you can do within a stadium. It just, I don't know, it just felt disjointed. Just felt weird. I get them trying to make Paris like the... They tried to make the city the stadium. And I get it. But I don't think it was well executed. So, you're at the race right now, Vetrix. Hope you got a brolly. Hope you're somewhere dry. George to Red Bull if Max leaves? No, I think Red Bull would rather promote Liam Lawson and make use of their driver academy rather than hire outside of... I don't think we're going to see an external driver come into that Red Bull system for quite a while now after Perez. Yuki is strapping in. Looks like Gasly's getting back ready. So maybe we're going to get some laps right at the end here. We'll see. Logan Sargent's cost his team more money than any other driver this year. That's no surprise. I think Perez is up there as well. Sergio Perez is high. F1 esports from next year, 2025. It's been signed off. No idea yet on what's going to be included within that, but no doubt there'll be probably like first-person shooters, sports games, like FIFA, basketball. No doubt sim racing will be involved as well. I hope sim racing is involved. But we'll see. Luckily, I'm in a grandstand. It's mostly stopped raining, but still very wet. Stay dry, man. Stay dry. Charles is getting ready too. Yeah, I mean, look, that clearly means they've got an indication that the red flag's going to be released. Maybe we're going to get 5 minutes worth. I mean, look, we haven't got here an indication of when the session's going to resume yet. So, how you crash at the front of my race yesterday? Oh, it wasn't yesterday. It was day before or whatever. Yeah, I dropped the clutch too quickly and I lost control of the car. So I have to manage the release of the second clutch, just like they do in F1 in real life. And yeah, I failed miserably at that and crashed. But we made up for it with some good races last night. We had a very good 100% F1 race at Spa, and then we had a couple of Super Formula races, which mixed bag. Which are going well in one. Why is Logan Sargent's car out on circuit? What is going on with the data? The rain is just completely fritzing all of the data being provided from the circuit at the moment. Logan Sargent's out on circuit. Red flag, out on circuit. Oh, thanks, Morgani. All the way from South Africa. Whereabouts in South Africa, buddy? It's a big place, big place. My geography is not too great of South Africa. I only know a few areas. So hopefully you're going to tell me one of the popular areas that someone with a lack of geography knows. Stu decided to get Logan to see if it's dry enough to resume. Is Max on more money than Lewis yet? If so, then Logan has a long way to go to cost his team, right? So Max is, I think, on more money than Lewis salary-wise. But Lewis will regain that with his Ferrari contract. So don't feel too sorry for Lewis or Max, though, because they're on something like 50 million a year. They're on something like £1 million a week salary. That's not including sponsorships. That's not including bonuses. That's just like base salary from... That's what the rumours are, anyway. Max Verstappen getting gold in the Olympics when? I bet you he'll compete in the Olympics. Yeah, I bet you. Especially if it's held within the summer break. If it's held within the summer break, Max would 100% compete in the summer Olympic, in the Esports Olympics. I bet you. Yeah, with Team Redline. That would be cool. That would be cool. Is there any chances F1 will return to India? Maybe one day. Maybe one day. The Indian circuit was a good circuit. I have heard, though, that it's not quite in good condition at the moment. I'd heard that... I could be completely wrong here, and I may be thinking of another circuit. I heard that actually it was starting to sink a bit. I could be thinking of a completely different circuit, but yeah. Darts should be in there too. I'm going to try and get tickets to go to the World Championship of Darts as well at the end of the year. Tickets come out on sale next week, so. Lunch was good. You ate pancakes for lunch? That's more like brunch. Yeah, hands down in sim racing esports. Yeah. I'm really intrigued. I've been really intrigued on that because it's massive. Do you know what I had pop up on my timeline recently, like on TikTok, was the... and I've never watched it, and I don't really watch Call of Duty anymore, but the CDL World Champs with like Optic and... that's like the only team I think I know. But, wow, what an atmosphere. What a vibe. Like, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. I watched a few TikToks from it. Some real characters as well, as there is always in Call of Duty. I like the trash talk. The trash talk was quite funny. And I wonder if that'd be the same in the esports. You're going to get none of this respect. It's going to be just complete trash talk. But it was a real great atmosphere. It was a real great atmosphere. Can we agree that Hamilton outdrive Max with skills with a slower car last weekend? Yeah, he did. Oh, wow. Green flag. 3 minutes from the ends. Track clear. Are we going to get anyone go out there? Session will resume at 28 minutes past. It's so 30 seconds, basically. Really need to bring back Kielami. I think it's a travesty that we don't have... Sepang, the Malaysian circuit. What a track. What a track. Counter-Strike scene is better. Yeah, Counter-Strike scene is pretty cool. I mean, I only see it through like TikToks and that. But yeah, I just thought it was a great atmosphere regardless. So, fair play to him. Everyone really needs to add a German race on F1 calendar. Yeah, I think it's a travesty we don't have at least Hockenheim on the circuit. Hockenheim always provided great races. But it all comes down to money now. There's no guarantee. Spa is on a rolling year contract. They are waiting to get rid of Spa. Trust me. Once they get another track on the circuit, so supposedly Spa was going to be replaced by the South African circuit. I think it was Johannesburg. I think they were going to go to. I could be wrong there. But wherever it was, the promoters couldn't commit to the cash. I think it was 13 million or something, and that fell through. So Spa was renewed, but yeah, Spa's only on a yearly rolling contract, so we are at risk of losing Spa pretty much every year. It's on next year's calendar, but it's not guaranteed for 2026. Do I think Verstappen? Well, I still think Verstappen, but I'm hoping Norris can put up a challenge. So lots of drivers getting out there at the end. They're going to at least be able to get one lap in, maybe. They just want to get out there, get a feel, especially for Sainz and Magnussen, who haven't even done any wet weather driving. They just want to get a feel to see where the grip is. Obviously, it's a brand new track surface here as well at Spa, so I wonder how much grip is going to be pushed out there. You can see Sainz going very slow through turn 8, very slow. Going to be a lot of standing water out there, and of course with these varying setups, no doubt that these teams are going to have prioritising the race on Sunday, but it's going to be easy to overtake, but you don't want to be too many positions down, because overtake is easy, but it's easy to lose time here at this circuit also if you get caught up in traffic. Limpopo Province, South Africa. I knew you was going to tell me an area that I didn't know. But I now know Limpopo Province, South Africa exists, and I'm now going to look that up on Google Maps because... Oh, Sainz was going really slow, by the way, because he went into the gravel. That's why Sainz was going very slow into turn 8 Rivage, because of the gravel. So, okay, so it's an area outside of Pretoria in Johannesburg. Okay. That is a massive area as well. Sunday's Drive, yeah. That's why I went to Spa this year, my favourite circuit, and by the time I was booking, I wasn't sure it'd be there next year. Yeah, good choice, Vetrix. But now Sainz is a bit more up to pace. Track is... First car to take flag is Sainz. So that's it. We only got Sainz, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Ricciardo, Ocon, Zhou, and Tsunoda just getting out there to fill the track right at the end. So Sainz get through Eau Rouge okay, and Radion. It must be really sketchy through there. I'm just watching the little off that Carlos Sainz had down into Rivage. And the front right just locked. So the front right just locked. What does South Africa bring that Spa lacks? I don't know, really. I think it's just because F1 wants to... They truly want to be a world sport. Like, because you think we have a race in every single continent, barring, of course, the South Pole and North Pole, the Arctic and Antarctica. But every continent has a race, except for Africa. So I think that's kind of their view upon it. We did have races in South Africa back in the 90s, wasn't it? I think the 90s was the last race we had in South Africa. So that's true. That's why they want to do it. They want to make it a truly world sport. And they want to race in Africa. So I think they're still trying to do it. But yeah, they're not going to... I don't know when that'll be confirmed. So... just comes down to money. But right, so that is it, guys, for this session. Will they be faster on the wets? They would be, probably eventually. Well, I don't know, actually. It just depends how much grip there is out there, but it's definitely wet conditions. So quali will be interesting. Oh, most definitely. But it's Belgium, it's a forest, so it can rain anytime, even Sunday if it says no rain. Yes and no, because obviously they'll have... the cloud cover. I think there's not going to be really any cloud cover on Sunday. That's the thing. I think it's just clear skies. So, way to reduce their carbon footprint, hit every continent. I know, man. Yeah, it does make me laugh when they talk about carbon footprint and they're flying from, like, Miami to Azerbaijan, like, a week after each other and stuff. And that was last year. But this year's a little bit more better designed. They're in certain areas, like they go into certain regions and race in those regions. But yeah, I don't know why they don't just do swings. So do the American swing, do a Middle Eastern swing. But we know that tracks pay certain... They pay a lot of money to be first on the calendar, to be in the last race on the calendar, and it's just... Yeah, it's all lip service, to be honest with you, I think. Will Newey have time to bring Williams to the top if he goes there? He's in his mid-60s. I think it's looking more and more likely he's actually going to go Aston Martin. I just think there's such a strong connection. He's already working on the Aston Martin hypercar with the partnership with Red Bull. I think he's going to go Aston Martin. It's a shed load of cash that they're presenting to him as well. As you said, he's 65 years old. He can work from home. There's probably going to be a much more relaxed atmosphere. So yeah, I think he'll work with Aston Martin. I don't think he's going to go Ferrari, and I don't think it'll be Williams. So it could be Williams, it could be wrong, but yeah. Don't think Kyalami would be a good circuit. I think Kyalami isn't the circuit that was being proposed, was it? Was that the circuit being proposed? FP3 ended just now. Yeah, well, look, we spent most of the time under red flag conditions, so qualifying is going to be interesting, guys. Qualifying, I couldn't predict who's going to be on pole position for qualifying. I just think it's going to be a cracker. I think we're going to see some crashes. I think we're going to see some real shockers with those different varying setups, because you can't change your setup after qualifying. So a couple of these teams are going to go for more downfalls, I think. But look, it's a long race on Sunday, especially with it being dry. So I think we're going to see some shockers into Q3 and some big shockers going out in Q1 and Q2. So just another example of greed for money ruining a good thing. Totally agree, Bobby. Yeah. Asia first, then Canada, USA, onto Europe would be nice. Yeah. That makes sense, but they won't do that, because it's all about, I mean, Bahrain paid a ridiculous amount of money to be the first. They signed the longest contract in F1 history. How much was it? It was something ridiculous. I think it might even be like 200 million for like 10 years to be the first race on the Canada, and for practice to be there as well. So like, that's just obscene. And that's what the historic tracks can't cope with. The likes of the reason why Germany don't have a race now is because they don't have the money to front up the costs, the promotion costs. That's why you go to Silverstone and the costs are so high. But just the tickets, the food, the drink, because that cost is filtered down by Silverstone. Apparently Silverstone break even every single year. It's a real shame, but the cost just gets passed on to us, the supporters, the paying customer. But it's implemented by F1. If F1 charged them less, then our costs would be less. So if this level of rank continues, quali may not happen. No, I think quali will happen. I think they'll try everything to get quali to happen. It'll just be on wet tyres. So the food here is so expensive, and they use a credit system to make it seem like you aren't wasting your money. Really? Wow. I thought Spa was supposed to be one of the more affordable options, Vectrix. So I've always been told, if you want to go to a race, go to Hungary or go to Spa. They're the two most affordable races. So I'm really surprised about that. Can Gasly win? No. I'm going to stop you right there, guys. I'm going to stop you right there. Have I met Lawrence Stroll? Relax that. Well, that's true, Anne. Yeah, I've heard some shockers about Lawrence Stroll. Yeah. That's true. But then again, if you're being paid like 60 million a year, 50 million a year, you'd be pretty relaxed, wouldn't you? Can't imagine Adrian Newey is going to be like, A friend went to Hungary and he paid 20 euros for a hamburger and a Red Bull. Wow. So they've definitely upped their costs then, Wendigo. They've definitely upped their costs. I know that, Silverstone's pretty similar. Thank you for the sub combo, and anyone else who has subbed in the meantime. Thank you. You spent 15 quid for a small pasta bolognese cup. Oh, fucking Jesus. But the thing is that the vendors don't actually get told. They get told what to set their prices at. So I always thought, okay, the vendors are paying, of course, an increased fee, a pitching fee to be there, and then they set their own prices. It's not that case. That the promoter, the track promoter, tells each vendor what they set their prices at, which is mad, absolutely mad. What is happening to Carlos? Because he only set one lap, So, yeah, the red flag came out very early due to Stroll's crash. And then, of course, wet weather conditions brought the red flag out again. And then it's been a very interrupted session. To take these timings here with a pinch of salt. Don't even pay attention. Not even a pinch of salt. Don't even pay attention to them because they're totally irrelevant. F1 should pay the cities to host the races and the money should then come from sponsors. It is too expensive for taxpayers and to continue subsidising F1. Yeah, can't disagree. Cheapest GP is Hungary. Yeah, for tickets it is, and I think for like the accommodation and so forth. But it sounds like that the on-site fees, they're increasing more. They're getting worse and worse. I mean, I went to... Thank you for the sub, Loric. I went to Festival of Speed recently, and it was £10 a pint. It was a tenner a pint, basically. Maybe just a touch under. It was near enough a tenner a pint. So if it was 4 of us, like a round was 40 quid. Which is mad. For 4 pints, like. Why are there 3 women talking about a sport they know nothing about? I disagree. They know a lot about this. There's a time... I don't want to go down this conversation. But look. I can't remember what her name is. Her name begins with B. Who's the former Aston Martin head of strategy? I can't remember her name. Please help me out, guys. It's not Bridget, is it? I can't remember who her name... Bernie. She was former head of strategy for Aston Martin. She is very, very knowledgeable. Very, very knowledgeable. So, and I think Naomi is a good presenter as well. She makes some good points. And Natalie Pinkham is a very good presenter. So, Bernie Collins. Very knowledgeable. I know it might have been a tongue-in-cheek comment, but they are 3 people who deserve to be there on merit. I do think... Men included, there are some people who aren't very good at presenting, and there are some people who aren't good at punditry either. And that's across all sports. Doesn't matter what gender you are. And sometimes people get there just because of their history, of who they are, just because they had something in the sport. But not everyone's made for TV. Simple as. But yeah, no, they're all very reputable, and I think they do a good job. Is Zandvoort next after Spa? Yes, Vens. So we have a 3-week break after this, and then we head to Zandvoort. And then it's... So is Danica Patrick. So, yeah. Do I need to say anything more about Danica Patrick? I just don't think she's a good presenter. Simple as, or a good pundit. She just doesn't make good points. Simple as. Regardless of what she does off circuit. With her YouTube channel, that's entirely what you get up in your own time is up to you. What your thoughts and opinions are on that's entirely up to you. You're entitled to them. But judging you purely as a pundit and as a presenter, I just think she does a poor job. So, just how I think... Who was it? Not Ann Davidson. Jesus, what's his name? Paul de Resta. Same as Paul de Resta. I thought he was a poor pundit as well. They are knowledgeable but biased. How so, Masuku? How so? Are you going to say British bias to me? Please bring high screaming RPM engines back in F1 when we don't care about the bad presenters as much. Yeah, man, we need those engines back, don't we? After hearing them at Goodwood Festival of Speed, just music to my ears. RPM made us all hate DiResta, I think. Paul made some good points in Austria about Lando and Max. That's Ant Davidson. Not Paul de Resta. Paul de Resta used to be a pundit on Sky, but he left a few years ago. Ant Davidson is very good, yeah. The V6 hybrids actually sound great in person, and different brands of engines sound different. Doesn't carry across TV though. Yeah, I mean they sound okay, but they're not a V8. They're not a V10 Vectrix. Oh, trust me. Wait until you hear one. I don't know if you have, but presenters do all seem to come from the same country for the official broadcast. Yeah, so the official broadcast, they focus on Sky because I think Sky is one of the biggest broadcasters in the world. Also, most of F1 fans, I think, speak some form of English, and I think that's why they've chosen Sky as the official broadcaster. I think it also comes from initially Bernie Ecclestone. So you've got to remember the former owners of F1, Bernie Ecclestone, Max Mosley, they were English. So they probably set up Sky. I think they set up Sky as the official broadcaster. And even then, before then, I think it was probably the BBC or ITV or something. Because of they're British, they're English. So the majority of the teams are based in the UK also. So that's why Sky have been chosen. It's a British broadcaster, and the majority of people, who watch F1 and work up and down the paddock as well in F1 are English. So that's why they've been chosen. But going to bias, have you listened to any other? I mean, people go British bias because it's the official broadcaster, right? Have you listened to a Dutch or a Spanish or an Italian? Or a South American broadcast? Holy moly. Some of the things they say on broadcast is so biased. Like, more so. It's just the fact of it, it's the Brits are the ones who are the official broadcast. That's why. So, and I have no issue with biasness. I don't sit there and go, I want people to have their opinions. I hate it when people just sit on the fence. I want people to give me their opinions. That's why I listen to X amount of podcasts and stuff, because I want to hear what other people have got to say. Rather than give the wishy-washy sitting on the fence, I'm going to be afraid to offend anyone because I may cross them in the paddock. Like, no, it's just sport. It's all about opinions, So, why do you think Nico Rosberg gets such... Like, Nico Rosberg doesn't really say anything that people online don't say. He just says it on an official broadcast. He's not afraid to say it. Whereas Crofty and the presenters are a bit more... They're not willing to ask the hard questions or say what's on their mind. So there are no strategists in F1 race. F1 is like every other sport. Advantage is going through tactics and tacticians. However, increasingly tacticians are going to be merged with AI. Cool, we're a few years away from that, I think, Peter. I mean, almost all the teams are based in the UK, so obviously the main language of F1, the broadcast will be English. British, yeah. When's it going to start? So qualifying starts this afternoon at 3 p.m, so a few hours' time. So I'm going to jump off in a second, guys. I'm going to go have some lunch, I'm going to go chill, and then, we'll be back. We'll reconvene in a few hours' time at 3 p.m. You drove your first track this October in 1994. It was still public road in sections. Eau Rouge was a two-way traffic bus stop chicane. Really was a bus stop. Yeah, I remember. That's why it's called the bus stop chicane, isn't it, John? So it's crazy to think when you look at races back when even Lewis Hamilton started racing. So like over the last decade, how much this track has actually changed. Like the chicane is the bus stop chicane is different now compared to what it was within the last 10 years, and then you go a further 10 years back. Like this track has evolved a lot over time. Crofty was annoying last race. Yeah, so I didn't hear too much of it because we were doing the watch-along. But yeah, Crofty should have just make a light-hearted joke about it, leave it at that. It was very much like boomer talk, wasn't it? Like, oh, he was up playing games all night. Shut up. Like, I don't mind Crofty. I don't. But just, no. Perez didn't crash. No. Pissing rain again. Hope it's more dry for quali. Stroll went out for a stroll in Spa to find a nice spot to crash. But I think the official F1 TV and international broadcast should be as neutral as possible. Rotating a local presenter as the colour commentary for each race. I agree, yes. But I think if you're... So there's a difference between presenting and punditry. If you're a presenter, you're there to present. You're there to introduce the show. You're there to ask the questions to the pundits. What what like the experts. What did you think about this? What did you think about that? They're there to ask the initial questions to drivers, and then lead on to the pundits to ask the hard-hitting questions. That's how it should be, in my opinion. However, they don't do that. I think I feel like they got to a point where they're too fence-sitting. So the pundits they bring on now, other than Nico Rosberg, like Jacques Villeneuve said something about Daniel Ricciardo, right? Twitter was in uproar over it, and it's like, but that's what we want. We want hard-hitting opinions from pundits. That's what they're there for. We want their analysis and their expert opinion on things. Now, you're entitled to disagree with them, but that's what we want. And it was like uproar of like, oh, why is this man even on TV? Oh, why is he on TV? He always says something ridiculous when he's on TV, and it's just like, that's what the pundits are there for, to give their insight and analysis. Some do it better than others, and some just sit on the fence. And that's why I think online commentary and podcasts, and just in all sports, have become that way, because the official broadcasts are too afraid to offend the teams, the organisation that they work for, and and because they see these drivers on the regular. But yeah, that's why I do what I do. I do a mixture of presenting and punditry at the same time. I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm a fan, I'm a spectator, and I love F1. So, impossible to be 100% neutral. Remember, we are humans. Exactly. Murray and James were the best. Yeah. James Allen was great. They had that Italian fella on who was in awe and wonder of everything. He was fun. Yeah. Let's hope we have another Silverstone GP conditions tomorrow. Slicks on rain. I don't think so, but look, it's going to be a really interesting quali, guys. Really interesting quali. So quali is at 3 o'clock. I'm going to be live 15 minutes beforehand. So I'm now going to go set up the stream. I'm going to go have some lunch. I'm going to chill for a little bit, recharge, and hopefully we actually have some running in qualifying, and qualifying is able to go ahead, as Vectrix is our trackside reporter and is telling us it is pissing down with rain again. So hopefully, Vectrix, when you tune in to this watch along, you can give us a weather update. See, this is what you get at on this stream compared to other watch alongs, guys. I have my own trackside reporters. Huh? I have my own trackside reporters. So, yeah. But no, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for the subs. We'll be live in a few hours' time. No published delays for F2. Big budget watch along, Vectrix, yeah. We'll discuss your fee afterwards. Free membership to the channel. But yeah, no, we'll be back live in a few hours' time. I'm going to go see, tune into the F2, see what's happening with the F2, see what the conditions are like, and see how they get on while I have some lunch. So yeah, have are they paid with merch or a burger on Tuesday? Well, my memberships are a lot cheaper than a burger and a pot of bolognese, as Vectrix informed us of at the circuit. So, but yeah, have a lovely couple of hours, guys. Go grab some lunch, breakfast, dinner, wherever you are in the world. Recharge, and we'll be back in a couple of hours' time. We'll see you then. Bye.